absence of your father in your life had a tremendous impact on the injury you're trying to heal from right now.
Correct. Correct. So correct.
But sometimes you just feel like, I wish any man can just come right now and give me a hug and tell me, I love you.
From United States of America. I was watching the broadcast one day. Actually, I just came back from Atlanta and I was just relaxing and I said, wow, there's someone online just prophesying and just talking and ministering to people. I said, let me just tap in and see what's going on. And so I just tapped in just to, watch and listen. And there was Apostle speaking to this young lady. And I said, should I tap in? Should I just, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I followed my spirit and my spirit told me to tap in. And when I tapped in, he allowed me to come up live and we started talking. Well, actually, he asked me how I was doing. He don't let you talk. You cannot talk. There is no talking, even if you want to talk, you want to say something, you want to start saying this, that, and the third, it just can't happen because he's just like, no, So I was just listening. As I got on, I said hello. And, the meet and greet, the usual. And I said, I'm from United States. And he was like, you're well-mannered. And I was like, thank you. And so as I just listened and got comfortable into the broadcast, I felt comfortable enough to just wait and be patient and see what was going to happen. And he just started talking to me. I didn't have to tell him anything. I didn't have to give him any clues. It was just nothing I said. I just listened and I just waited for the Holy Spirit to use him. And as he opened his mouth, the very first thing that he said was about my father. That's where all of my problems began. That was the root of everything that has happened and could possibly happen in my life. It was not having my father there. And for him to just go directly there, it had to be God because I didn't share anything. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. I'm just getting in from Atlanta. I saw a broadcast and I tapped in just like that. And as he was speaking to me, I knew it was God because no one would have known that I was doing things and I've had to go through so much simply because I didn't have a father. I was searching for my father, and although he was alive, he just didn't want to be a part of my life, And yes, I found myself in situations and circumstances due to not having the guidance and the relation of a father and someone to point me in good direction. So as he began to talk to me and as that my heart opened up the more to listen because I knew this was my story. Nobody knew my story, but for God to reveal that to him, it just let me know that I was connected in more than one way. And so he began to tell me more about myself and the decisions that I made and what has caused me to the point even to having children and how I just said, had I done this different, had my life would have went different, if I would have made this choice, that choice, all the things that I've always thought. But my kids and my family would never know that because I'm such a great mom. And for it to be that open, it just let me know that God was locating me right where I was, right at the point of my need. So as he began to speak to me and the Holy Spirit gave him utterance to say that even with education, who would have known that? Nobody would have known that I didn't have education. Because when people look at me, they look at me like, oh, do you have a business? Or, oh, and they don't even know the lowest, which was my situation, was the education. I just couldn't get it. I've tried, I went to school and I failed the test over and over again. And I just couldn't pass it. And it always kept the doors closed to me to really push my life in a further direction where not only I can take care of myself, but take care of my kids. To sow into ministry, to give, to be a blessing to others. The enemy has always fought me in that area of education. So then I get up and I said, well, let me show you something. Because 2 weeks before that, I already applied to a school where I knew the school was already still taking applications, and it's accredited, and it has been used by my mom and so many other people. So I decided to step out again for like the sixth time to try to do it. And I ordered the application, and the application came in the mail 2 weeks before speaking to Apostle. And I said, let me show you something to prove that you are actually telling my story. So I got the piece of paper. Actually, the piece of paper is over there, but let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Yep, here it is. And this was the paper that I showed him that I was just getting in the mail, that that is in reference to what he was speaking to me through God telling him to tell me. And I told him that everything that you said was right on time, because I have this is the story of the education part that I've always struggled in, that I'm trying to do again for the sixth time. So that was a part of the prophecy. And then it was a part of where I was supposed to learn to do a craft and a talent. God spoke to me and said, this free time that you have, I need you to utilize it. Use what's in your hand. And I was trying to figure out, okay, God, what is it that you want me to do? Give me direction. If you tell me what to do, I'll do it. I'll start it. I'll figure it out. And so I was like, wait a minute. As he was telling me, he said, learn the hair. God already spoke to me and told me to learn the hair, because I do hair, and I've always had this thing with hair where I could just do it and make it happen really quick, and boom, there it is, like nothing's happened. But I never thought that that was for me. So when I heard through the Spirit of God that that is something that I should do, I was like, whoa, that's what God already told me. Like, who would have known that? You don't know me. You don't know my story. You've never met me. I am not from Nigeria. I'm all the way here in America. And so I was like, okay, God, you're continually speaking to me. You're continually revealing the things that I have spoken to you privately, that you are publicly now just speaking to me, where I can hear, and it's manifesting. All the things that I prayed and asked is now spoken out of Apostle's mouth. So I was like, wow, God. And so then as he said that, I said, let me show you something. Let me show you what I've already done. And this is in the prior of like 3 weeks now, where I've already started the process of beading and hair and all these other things that God has already told me to do. So I showed him my beading that I've already started, like a small business, like a side hustle. Side hustle, like you said, side hustle. And then I showed him that I was already starting that, and that was something that God already dealt with me with. So everything was confirmed through Apostle as to what my direction is for my life and how I should go forward. Because sometimes you can find yourself in a dark space, and everybody around you could be going and doing everything, and you just feel like you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to go and who to turn to. And because I've been burnt by pastors and leaders of leaning on them, wanting to be a spiritual daughter, wanting to be connected, and it just seemed like it just never happened for me. And that was something else that Apostle spoke on, about how I was so burnt and just trying to just lean on spiritual fathers and thinking that they were really there for me, and they actually left me. So even with that, me feeling alone, even the depression that I had in 2020, nobody knew that. I actually don't know how I came out of it. It had to have been the grace of God, because I was truly depressed. And only God could reveal something that was happening in America back in 2020 to Apostle, simply because he's the voice of God. He follows the mind of God. He's present to know. He has to have a relationship and such a deep connection and communication with God, where God is pointing him to locate someone like me. And there was another part of the prophecy that nobody could have known, because if you know me, I smile and you'll never know what's going on with me. You'll see me dressed up and everything and you'll think, oh my goodness, she's prestigious, she's diplomatic. In some kind of way you would think that, but I'm catching all kinds of hell behind the closed door and nobody knows that. So the part about feeling alone was something that I really, really was going through. And I have to say this because it's really a deep part of the prophecy that I dealt with: feeling alone, depression, fear, anxiety. All of those things was always my issues as to why I couldn't do something, start something, or become who the person God has always called me to be. Because either I would go into this mindset of fear. What if I don't do it? What if it doesn't happen? What if I fail at it? And all of these questions and all of the things that was a stigma in the past as to why I got to that place too. A lot of trauma and traumatic situations that caused me to be in the state that I was in. And feeling alone was one of the big ones. And I'm going to go back to that because that was the important one. There was a lot of people around me at one point or one time, but I still felt alone. There was a lot of people, family members, still going to church, still doing everything that I needed to do, still in the functioning zone, physically, but mentally and emotionally being tormented by the enemy here of so many things that kept me binded by my physical. And for God to use Apostle in such a sweet way to minister to the point of my need was definitely God saying, I love you, I'm here. I hear you, I've heard you from the beginning. And when you feel like all hope is gone, and when you feel like there's nobody that understands you, he raises up a prophet like Apostle. And I'm so grateful because me being here in America, so far in distance, it was never far for God to reach me in the realm of the spirit, which was God using Apostle for me. So I look at it as, God, you remember me like Hannah. And when I thought I was forgotten, and when I thought this is my norm and I have to keep this, and this is what I have to do, and this is how I have to cope, and this is how I have to maintain, God came in and he showed me that I didn't have to through Apostle. Apostle brought all those things back from all of the men and women of God who spoke to me about businesses, about school, about education, about being a 301c, having my own nonprofit organization. That was also in the prophecy. It's only God. No one knows me. But for all of these things to manifest back in 2023 just shows you that God he doesn't forget, and he never disqualify you. You are always certified, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't think that it's gonna happen, and even when you're just like at the wit's end of not knowing how it's gonna turn out, but you're still holding on to that little bit of faith. God knows how to just bring you right on into your moment, your season, and this is my season. And what really stuck out to me is that you didn't know that I was fighting for a relationship with my father for so many years. I was trying my best to spend time with him, call him, stay in contact with him and everything. But it just didn't happen that way. And by 2017, he took his life. He committed suicide. And I felt like, wow, I never got a chance to have a father. And that was one of my breaking points as well, where it left me stuck.
Like when you came on, the relationship between your father that didn't last was what I said first. Okay, so after the prophecy, because after the prophecy, you confirm all the prophecy. So what now happened after he prophesied to you and you received all the prophecy?
Well, after you prophesied to me, you prayed for me as well. Because the first thing that you prayed for me about, you just knew. You went directly there. I didn't have to say anything. I'm like, because, I'm used to this. My sister my sister is the first lady. My brother-in-law is apostle. I'm used to the church. I'm used to church going. I'm used to all of that. So I said to myself, okay, I'm going to just wait and see how long it's going to take for him to just hit that direct area that I really need help in, God. I don't need help in anything else but that, so everything else can flow. And he said that spirit of torment, anxiety, depression, it will go today. It will leave your life completely. And I was already battling weeks with that, still battling weeks with it, mentally just being bothered, being just antagonized by the enemy here. And if you know anything about anxiety and how it starts by your thinking. And Apostle went directly there in that matter, that difficult matter that was difficult for me. He went directly there by the Spirit of the Lord.
So you mean, so I prayed for you that day. When I prayed, what happened during the prayer?
It felt like something was pushing my back as I was being delivered. God was delivering me right in the middle of my floor. I was getting delivered. And I was here by myself. It was no one else here but me, God, and Apostle, and the people that were on live. But I was so desperate that I didn't even care if it was in my living room. I didn't even care if it was on camera because I needed it so bad.
So you mean that I prayed for you and under deliverance and you got delivered?
I got delivered right then and there. And that spirit doesn't bother me. It doesn't torment my mind. It's like it's shut down. It's like it's subjected to the will of Christ for my life to leave me and never return. It's just like that. I can't explain it. When it's time for me to do something, it's like God is dealing with me in the discipline area now, being that I couldn't get to the discipline because there was so many other blockage, which was the anxiety, the fear, and the things that tried to overcome me mentally, like a mental battle. I don't have those. I wake up, I know what I want to do, I go straight to it. I don't have the torment of my mental.
All those spirits and those demons tormenting your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what other
They're
things?
no longer tormenting me. I have freedom from it. Well, I want to share this part of the testimony. I got a call from my mom. And it's just out of the blue. It was early in the morning. And she said, hey, she said, hi. I said, hi, how are you, Mom? And she said, I'm doing good. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing nothing. I'm actually just laying down. And she said, oh, okay. She said, she was talking very slow. And as she was talking very slow, it was as if she was excited to tell me something. I'm like, get to it. What do you want to tell me? What is it? I'm still sleeping. It's in the morning. And she said, well, I've been thinking, me and your stepfather, we're going to pay for you to go back to school. I was like, what? We're going to give you the money to go back to school. I was like, really? She said, yeah, we want to do that. Like she called me and she doesn't know the prophecy. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know what happened. She said God spoke to her and told her to pay for me to go back to school.
The prophecy and your deliverance.
Yes, she doesn't. They don't know anything. They haven't seen the video. They don't even know nothing happened.
Hey, I said this happened after the prophecy and the deliverance.
This happened right after the prophecy.
Wow.
And also, I've been getting like different messages of jobs. Hey, we want you to work. Hey, we need you to do. And this last one that I really felt definitely God was a part of was this man I got here in America text me on Instagram and said, hey, I know this lady, she needs some help. She needs someone to come and work for her. And I looked at, he said, but I mentioned your name to her. I haven't seen them in months. They haven't talked to me. And for him to just call me right at the midst of my need, again, it's God saying that everything that you desired, the doors are open. I'm making provision.
You didn't look for a job, but jobs were coming.
Jobs were coming to me, to my phone. Wow. Yes.
Wow.
I've been going to the doctor, making appointments to see the doctor about this shoulder. The shoulder has been giving me a lot of problems, and they've been telling me, okay, we're going to send you to therapy. I just took some images actually yesterday, but I said, you know what? I said, I really don't want nobody to really touch the situation, but I need to talk to my spiritual father. I need to reach out to him before I do anything further or go any further. I need to let him know what's going on with me. And it had to be God, because so I called him, I texted Apostle. I said, Apostle, I said, I'm having problems with his shoulder. They took images. I don't know what's going on. They're telling me things, but I haven't gotten the results yet. I'll be calling them for the results, but I haven't gotten it yet. And he says, oh, I didn't get anything from it. It was just a long message about me complaining about my arm, my shoulder, and the messages that the doctor had been giving me. I gave everything to him. Like, here, this is what's going on with me. So I figured, okay, your spiritual daughter, just lay it on your father, okay? He knows about it. I don't want anybody else to pray for me. God has been too good to me, and I didn't feel the need to go to anyone else. So after I left the message, I got a message saying, hey, call me. And I was like, yay. I was like, he reached back. Okay, good. So I got online and I told him everything that was going on, and he immediately began to pray for me. And so as he prayed for me, he said, I want you to lift your arm. At first I was hesitant. I was like, look, my arm, it hurts so bad. I can't even lift it. It don't even go up. And so I said, I'm going to obey. I'm going to listen to my spiritual father because he knows what's best. So I lift my arm. And as I lift my arm, now this week, it was only going like right here. Literally couldn't go no further. But as I listened to him and I caught hold to the faith of what he was saying, I caught it and I grabbed it and I immediately went in with it. I couldn't lift my arm. Like, I literally couldn't lift my arm. I'm lifting my arm. I like doing this was hurting. They already had told me that it could have been a torn rotator cuff. I think that's what it's called. And that they would have to do therapy on it. And they were talking about injections and just therapy and all of this stuff. And here I am lifting my arm. Now I couldn't, it was right here, but here it is. And I believe that when I touch agree with Apostle, that in that moment, my faith connected to his, and I grabbed hold to his faith with mine. And then I could lift my arm. I couldn't lift my arm. It was so painful for me to do it. It went far back, and as I felt it, it was like as it went back, it felt like my joints just completely rolled back like it was supposed to. It wasn't doing that. I couldn't move because it was stiff. It was like a stiff motion that they were saying they had to give me therapy for because the arm was stiff. And I was like, okay, or they would have to give me injections just to keep the pain at bay.
And so
but yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And all the injection and everything, the pain wasn't going.
It wasn't going. And look, after he prayed, I said, I'm going to go to sleep. I said, I know when I go to sleep, this is when the pain bothers me. I went to sleep. And they had to call me and wake me out of my sleep and say, hey, you okay? Are you all right? I was finally getting a peaceful sleep. That's when you know the Spirit of the Lord is in your situation. He's already intervened.
After the prayer, the pain left, and then you were able to lift your hand, and you couldn't sleep for how long have you been battling with the sleep?
Since the end of October to November.
So the pain has been there since October.
Yes, it's been really painful. I have pain pills and everything they were giving me, muscle relaxers, and it just wouldn't help me. And I started to feel like I might need to take
containers of the pain, of your pain relief.
Mm-hmm.
You have the containers of your medication?
I do.
Let's see some.
Okay. This is what they prescribed for me.
Wow.
The Metrocarbo for 3 days because the pain was so severe. And as you could tell like on here where it says where it was filled and the time that it was filled. Then they gave me this one on top of it. This is the pain one.
Ibuprofen.
And this is the muscle relaxer. But I have to take this 3 times, he said, just to get some type of relief. But then I have to stop taking this because I can't counteract with this and take this alone. It was just a lot. It was a lot. To sleep after Apostle prayed for me. I really need to get some sleep. After you prayed for me, I went to sleep. I said, well, I need to get some sleep because I wasn't getting any sleep. And it wakes me up every night. It disturbs me. And when it disturbs me, it's like a grinding that's happening in my arm, and it seems like something's grinding. Mm-hmm. And it just does that to me every night. But when you pray for me today, mm-hmm. and I slept through the day because I have to get some type of sleep in order to be mobile for my son when he gets in from school and everything. But I'm not working. Mm-hmm. Because now, I was worried about this arm and what should I do? Even with the job offer, I didn't want to start a job. And if I start a job, I had to quit because they have me on these different things. But as you prayed for me today and I went to sleep, I slept in complete peace.
Wow.
Complete peace. That's how come you know that God is in your situation. That's Amen. When you know he's with you. He's using you, Dad, to get me to my next level of where I just felt I just couldn't go on my own. And you can't. You need a spiritual father. You need a covering. You need someone to pray for you. That was you, Dad, for me.
Congratulations. We celebrate with you. So how much did you pay for the prophecies and the deliverance and all these testimonies that the Lord has brought into your life? How much
I didn't have to pay anything. All I had to do was tap in on the broadcast with one finger.
You mean nobody sent you a message and said you have to pay for your prophecy, pay for your deliverance?
Nope, never.
It was completely free.
It just came free.
Wow. So we thank God for you, and we are asking the Lord that he will continually to perfect all that concerning your life. And because you believe in the grace, it will multiply every other thing that God must do in your life for you to get to the next level of glory and achievement. We decree and declare by the mercy of the Lord, it shall come to you in Jesus' name. We're happy and thank you for sharing your testimony with us. We'll wait for more testimonies from you.
Absolutely. Amen.